Captain Trucker, welcome to the live. We're about to cross into Arizona, so I just thought I'd show you all the Mojave Desert. Thanks for supporting the channel. Hit that like button. Hope you all enjoy the scenery. These are great mountains, man. We're a long way from the Philippines, folks. Very long way. So welcome to the live stream, people, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the desert, Mojave Desert. So I was in this parking lot. There was only 10 other trucks there. Okay, like not a lot of trucks, right? So I go into the store. I come out about 10 minutes later, and I got to open the door. And like something falls out of the truck, and like all of a sudden this man appears. Like I realize I opened the door to the wrong truck. But my company, all the keys to the company open the same truck apparently, or that's all. You know what I mean? So I was startled. I think the guy was freaked out too, probably ready to shoot me. I was like, "Whoa, dude! Sorry." I just opened the wrong truck door. It's kind of funny, actually. The strange things that happen out in the desert. Opening the door to the wrong truck. Same company. But I mean, this wasn't even like a major truck stop, right? And so, I don't even know what the odds are of somebody parking almost right next to me after I go into the store to buy some chicken. And I come out and I open the door to the wrong truck. I thought somebody had broken into the truck, and the guy probably thought someone was breaking into his truck. So I was like holding my chicken and holding the keys and like, "Whoa, sorry, man." Because it was the same company, dude. The fleet's not that big, let alone for somebody to be out in the desert at the same tiny little spot that I happened to pull over at. That was weird. It really was. I think we were both just so kind of jaded that it wasn't a bigger deal than it was, but it's like, wow. That guy could have legitimately shot me or vice versa, you know? Because I saw something fall out, like a case, and I'm thinking to myself, where did this case come from? Like, oh geez, did like somebody, and I saw this man, I was like, oh, somebody broke into my truck. And then I realized, I was like, wait a minute, this has got to be a different truck. Yeah, I was able to put two and two together quite quickly, so did he. And then I kind of chuckled and said, oh man, these keys, they opened up all the same company's trucks. And he kind of nodded. I think he was trying to sleep. Anyway, just a random thing that happened, but welcome to the live stream, folks. If you're out there, smash that like button. I hope you're all having a good day. Oh, man. I only had like 300 more miles left, but I was kind of not really into it. I've been going to the gym more lately, which I'm happy about. I was kind of in a bad mood earlier, and I was doing a live stream, and I thought, geez, maybe. So if anybody was offended by anything I said, well, that's just the way it goes, but it wasn't personal, I can assure you. I didn't tell any people off or any groups, really. I was just having a moment of candid thoughts. Maybe it was a bit raw. Well, anyway. Oh, vlogging in the Philippines. I just posted a new video. I'm a new argument to say that Philippines tourism will substantially boom in the future with or without vloggers. Because I used to think that vloggers played this huge role in promoting and drawing people to the Philippines, right? Maybe more so casual tourists than like actual expats. I don't know. It's really hard to gauge this stuff. But some people think they were like, you know, some vloggers think they were God's gift to the Philippines in terms of drawing out tourists, but actually, I'm now skeptical how much an effect vloggers actually have. So I'm still trying to figure that one out. I mean, obviously they must have some, but yeah, I was having AI do some kind of trying to break it down by percentages and probability, the categories that drive people to move to developing countries, right? I think like 30-40% was lower cost of living, obviously. Maybe 10 to 15 was something to do with job displacement and or remote work. Maybe that's another 10% rather. Yeah. But I had YouTube down there like 5 to 7%. So, gotta figure that one out. Oh yes, the land of social media. Well, I figured this view was better than watching some brain rot, right? Isn't the desert nice to look at? I think it's beautiful. We have rattlesnakes and tarantulas. Scorpions. There's actually a sign at one of the receivers here, like in the desert. I think it was in Arizona. It said the rattlesnakes and scorpions, during the day they hide in the shadows. They're usually harmless, but if you corner them, they can get defensive. Be nice to our rattlesnakes, scorpions, and tarantulas. Yeah, that really happened. Not that I saw them, I just saw the sign. Maybe if you watch long enough, the road can hypnotize us. We'll have legitimate highway hypnosis. But yeah, share your comments. Let us know where in the world you're at. have conversations with each other. When I pull over, I can read your comments. Welcome to the Mojave Desert, ladies and gentlemen. We're going eastbound. The life of OTR truck driving, folks. Going from Bakersfield, California to Washington, D.C. It's a nice drive. Nice little short run. Just joking. Like 2,700 miles. So yeah, this is my view from the truck. I should document this stuff at least once in my life, one of these drives to the desert, because you know, it kind of occurred to me, I was like, not everybody gets to see stuff like this, including myself, although I've been here several times, but, you know, I like being out west, for sure. Western states, man, in terms of scenery and all that, it's great. It's fantastic. It's that certain desert vibe, you know what I mean? I like it in the summertime too. It's not even that hot. I guess because I spend a lot of time in the Philippines, but To me, it's not that hot. Very dry. It's different than being like in the equator, tropical jungle islands. You know? Yeah, a lot of people were carried on conversations in the live chat, which I thought was interesting because I definitely encourage that. I just can't read it until I pull over. That's the only issue with that. That guy's probably going like 90 miles per hour. The guy that just passed me. That's fast. policeman's gonna get him. You see that? That dude just passed me at like 90 or 100. Now the police is going after him. Anybody see that in the distance? My goodness gracious. Welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. We just had somebody pass us at about 90, 100 miles per hour, and now a policeman is pulling him over ahead of us. Even out in the middle of the Mojave Desert, you really aren't supposed to drive that fast. We're going to see him when we come up here. The guy went pretty far. Yeah, I was kind of in a bad mood earlier when I was doing my live stream, but I was thinking about some strange subjects actually, and I hope it wasn't off-putting to anybody. All right, so he's up here on the right. You guys see him? It's the guy that just passed us on the video, and now he's getting pulled over. Right here. Is it a guy or a woman? I can't see. Couldn't see. I hope you're all enjoying the Mojave Desert today, as much as I am, I guess. Welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. We're here in the Mojave Desert, going eastbound into Arizona. Hope you're all having a good day today. If you like the view of the desert, smash the like button for me. I appreciate it. Yes, there is scorpions out here, as well as tarantulas. And Alright, welcome to the Mojave Desert, folks. I've been doing a lot of streams lately. But I thought I was gonna take a break for a day, but then I was like, man, I really gotta. This desert's pretty nice, right? So I gotta turn on the camera. I guess I won't talk as much, but that's okay. I can take a break from talking. Welcome to the live stream, folks. If you want, send your locations, tell everybody where you're at. Start a conversation about life while I drive this truck. It's up to you. Or just ride in peace. I feel like an airplane pilot right now. Only I'm on the ground. Attention all passengers. That's funny. This is your pilot, Captain Trucker speaking. Thank you for all the support. Boost this in the algorithm, fellas, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button. Share your thoughts if you choose. But enjoy the ride of the Mojave Desert, folks. We're flying 55 miles per hour eastbound. About to cross into Arizona, so I hope you're enjoying the flight. We've got some complimentary beverages. The stewardess is going to show up and give everybody Jaeger bombs. We have a whole variety of stuff you can drink from. Ginger ale, Diet Coke, straight vodka if you want. That's for you all passengers at the home. Anyway, I'm just joking. Actually, alcohol sucks, doesn't it? Alcohol is probably the worst drug in human history. It really is. We're in the Mojave Desert, folks. the sun's finally going down in the west. Yeah, it's just behind the mountain. All right, welcome to the live stream, folks. I think I lost connection. I'm not sure. I don't know. But anyway, I'm back. Still here in the Mojave Desert. Still here in the Mojave Desert, and I don't know if you guys saw the police pull over that vehicle earlier. That's kind of funny. You know, I was thinking about, you know, if you're doing like a radio show or something, or a podcast, or say you do it like, I don't know, 5 days a week, or like I've been doing this live stream like I think almost every day for 7 days. Maybe? Something like that. You do kind of have to like take breaks sometimes, because I mean, anybody has to, you know, you can just get on here and be tired or just be really pissed off that day. And it's probably not like the best way to do a stream. Although I personally find such things amusing. I think the majority of the audience, though, the mainstream, they'd probably be turned off by such things. Who knows? Like, I mean, I was doing this earlier, and I was admittedly kind of in a bad mood talking about a few subjects. Particularly what I was calling closeted swingers that I met in Holland, this German couple that was like, I was just walking through a bar, and this woman kept talking to me, and her beaten down husband was there with her, and I was just like, dude, leave me alone, man. You know what I mean? I was just like, go join a club or something. But I don't know, I guess maybe those kind of conversations are negative, but that story just kind of popped into my head for some reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's not the most appropriate type of topic, although I thought it was funny. Because, I mean, it was just such a grotesquely stupid situation, and the woman was like offended that I didn't want to like sleep with her, and so was her husband, and presumably, I don't know, like just walking through, man, like leave me alone. Yeah. But I don't mean to sound judgmental. I understand, like we live in a very strange world, folks. What can I say? A lot of strange things going on out there. But everybody's welcome on this channel. That's true. Anybody and everybody. 99.7% of people. How about that? I'm just being funny. When I pull over, I'm going to be able to read some comments. I haven't been able to see them. I hope my moderator's in the room, just in case we get some of the nut job trolls coming by, bombarding the live stream with psychosis. Oh, God. Anyway, we're in the Mojave Desert today, folks, and I appreciate the support. So let's get those likes up there. It helps with the algorithm. Yeah, but it was just, I thought it was funny because I was kind of in a bad mood, but I thought maybe it was offensive to some people. Well, like this guy showed up, for instance, and he's like, he said, he identified his orientation or whatever, and I just kind of flippantly said, like, yeah, so what? I mean, you want a cookie? I mean, why are you telling everybody? Like, nobody asked. I mean, you want special privileges because you identified as something? I mean, what do you want? I just thought that was funny. I didn't mean to be rude. But I think some people saw the humor in it. But anyway, I mean, life's hard, folks. You can't please everybody all the time, okay? It's not our job. I don't know, is that like rude of me to say that? I mean, I'm just kind of being honest. Like, you know, for instance, the weird German couple that I met, I didn't meet them. I was like walking by, and they're trying to rope me into their weird dynamic and stupid conversation. And I just kind of, coldly, stared back. didn't really respond. And then I tried again and tried again. I basically did the same thing. Like no somatic reaction, nothing. But what else am I supposed to do? Like what? Oh, I have to engage your bullshit because you're going to be offended when, you're the one trying to engage me on some weird dynamic that you have yourself involved with. Like when a man comes up to me and wants me to sleep with his wife and like it's offensive if I'm not into it. Like, dude, like, what do you want from me? I mean, have some self-respect for humanity, first of all, including yourself and your wife and whoever, right? I don't know, dude, men are weird. Like, I think that happens to some middle-aged men. I was reading the psychology of those dynamics recently because I thought about the story. I don't know why, kind of. But, yeah, they say in those dynamics, there's an element of, well, first of all, it's not a real marriage, right? I mean, how do you, it's like if you're gonna go down the swinger route, you're not in a marriage. I mean, call it something else, right? Like that's not what marriage is. So get that out of your head right away. And then it's like, what do you? What was I gonna say? But anyway, some of the psychological dynamics of that is like the men, they have, well, first of all, and I'm not saying this to be mean, I'm like they've been weakened by life, and so they try to pretend like they're doing something for their wife or something, like, oh, I'm a secure man, I'm not jealous, so I want another man to screw my wife or something. It's like, yeah, not really, but it's like, dude. But then there's also an element of like control and humiliation going on the man's part. It's really weird, And I admit, like, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but I don't really have a lot of respect for men that condone or allow that. And of course, the woman herself, that's a whole other story, but yeah, what's that about? Anybody have any thoughts on that? But anyway, that's what I was talking about earlier, and I thought maybe it was inappropriate, so I don't know. But when I was talking about it, I was kind of in a bad mood, which I thought was funny personally. But I apologize if that was offensive to anybody. Everybody's welcome on this channel. That's all I'm saying, man. Yeah, people got weird stuff going on, man. I mean, see, this is why eventually in life, and I say this about grown men in the Philippines too, it's like, you kind of have to focus on your wife and kids. You start getting involved in like trying to have all these friends or being Mr. Popular guy at school and you're like in your 40s and 50s and 60s. I think it can be like problematic, dude. I mean, I don't see what the sense is. Am I making any sense right now? Probably people listen and go, what the heck is this guy talking about? Welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Please talk among each other. Smash the like button so you can support the stream. And we're going to keep riding until the sun goes down, maybe further. Who knows? I got about another 250 miles. We're going eastbound right now towards where we left the Mojave Desert. We're going to go into the Arizona shortly. And I think we're on the I-40 east. Going about 55 miles per hour, which is the state speed limit in California. Don't ask me why. And I'm driving all the way to Maryland. So I'm going from Bakersfield, California to basically Washington, D.C. Pretty much across the country. That is across the country. It's about 2,900 miles for Saturday delivery. So I'm going to crack out about 500, 550 miles today, the next day, the next day, the next day, and the next day. So it's going to be a good week. It should be pretty chill. I'll be able to go back to the gym at least another 3 or 4 times, hopefully. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to lie, when I did a live stream earlier today, I was in a bad mood. And, yeah, but I'm back now. Isn't that great? Now, is everybody watching? Are you guys all, like, new to the channel? Have you been here before? Do you watch the regular videos? What's the story? How long have you been watching the Captain Trucker channel? Just curious. I want to know about every single one of you. I want to know about your lives, what you eat for breakfast, what your occupation is, who you talk to. No, I'm just joking. Well, if you want to share, it's up to you. Trucking's a good job for some people that are just tired of all the BS in life. Because you don't really have to follow the establishment, you don't have to follow corporate culture, you don't have to control your language. You don't have to walk on eggshells around people. You don't have to deal with a boss and all that bullshit. You're just out here flying, man. Like, it's great, you know? But you got to be tough. You got to be resilient. It is a tough work, but it definitely takes some conditioning. I think the majority of people that get into this career, they drop out within months, maybe less than a year even. Or excuse me, within months. Maybe, I'm sorry, they say that, not the opposite way, but a lot of patience and a lot of temperaments required for truck driving. For sure. But, you know, once you acclimate, you get the discipline, or if you can acclimate, it's not for everybody. It can be a great opportunity. Take time off, travel the world, stack some cash, live on the road. You are living in a house on wheels, folks. I wouldn't quite say a house, it's more like a room, a tiny room. And you know, you start to embrace minimalism, you start appreciating little things like morning coffee, cold water, you know. I still love drinking cold water, it's like, it's the best, you know. We're not going down a grade. So the people watching right now, like, what's your age? What country do you live in? What city? Have you been to the Philippines? Do you like to travel? Are you into comedy? Do you like violence in movies? What are you into? What did you study in school? Not that that matters too much. I'm just curious. What are your mental interests, I should say? I mean, everybody's got a story, man. It's true. Everybody's unique. Try to pull over in the next amount of minutes, and that way I can quickly respond to some messages and make sure I'm absorbing everything, because I can't see it while I'm driving. Driver got pulled over. That's too bad. He was going too fast. All right, this is a true story. I told this earlier today. This really happened, all right? So I pull off. Not a truck stop, right? It's one of these, like, 76 stations, somewhere out in, I don't know, Mojave, whatever, but... Yeah, there's a Dairy Queen there, right? And this isn't like a major truck stop, so it's not even an official truck parking place, right? So there's about 10 trucks, like maybe space for about 10 trucks. So I pull in, I park, I go into the store, I buy some chicken, I come out about 20 minutes later. And, you know, I'm fumbling with my keys. I go to the truck. I open the door and something falls out. And I'm like freaking out, like what the heck was that? And then there's a man standing there inside the truck. And I was able to put it together really quickly. I looked, okay, same color truck. And my key opened another person's truck. I was like, wait a minute. So the guy's obviously freaked out. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I said, dude, this is the same company. I was like, does the key open the door to all the same truck, to all the trucks? It's like companies' keys to their Freightliners will open other, but I mean, seriously, I get it, but what are the chances of it being it's not even exactly a big company, but the same truck stop, not even a truck stop. I mean, just weird, you know? Like, parked 2 trucks to the left of me, I thought it was my truck. I opened the door to somebody else's truck. Fortunately, I was not shot. and it ended with a chuckle. What can I say? But innocent mistake, right? I mean, yeah, it's kind of funny. Does that happen to anybody else? Any other drivers? You ever try to accidentally open the door with other? But I mean, can you imagine it actually worked, right? Because like a company driver for this company anyway, like their key will open the door to another one of their company trucks. Kind of funny. I think he was just relieved that he wasn't being robbed, and I was relieved that he didn't shoot me, so it just kind of worked out in the end. That happened right before I started the live stream, in case anybody cares to know. But I didn't mean to be like I wasn't trying to be negative about, you know, the swingers out there in the world, or the closet swingers. They're all welcome on the channel, every one of them, okay? People of different race and creeds, orientations, all that good stuff. They can all come on the Captain Trucker channel, every single one of them. Mostly. All right, smash that like button if you like equality and diversity. Anyway, I don't know if you guys like those stories. It's the best I got right now, okay? I can't force it. What can I say? I'm just a man driving. How far are we from Flagstaff? What do we got? 221 miles? Yeah, I can do that. I guess. Not really into it right now, to be honest, but I'd rather be at the gym. welcome to the Captain Trucker live stream, people. You can just hit that like button and help support the stream. I appreciate it. We're in the Mojave Desert, crossing into Arizona on the I-40. Final destination, Washington, D.C. We have approximately 2,600 miles to go. Or, wait, that's not right, sorry. Anyway, let's stop in Flagstaff, I think, tonight. Flagstaff, Arizona, which is about 210 miles from me right now. But yeah, I'm going to try to pull over soon to read some comments. I can't see the phone while I'm driving, obviously, but I appreciate whoever's here, if anybody's here. It'd be funny if like no one was here. But I can feel the energy, I feel the presence of people around me, so I appreciate the support. Okay, we're 2,437 miles from our destination. And I know that I was a bit critical about closeted swingers earlier, and swingers in general, but they are welcome on the channel, okay? It's just fun to analyze groups sometimes, you know what I mean? But yeah, we're only 2,437 miles from our destination. That's a good walk in the park. Now, I don't know, it's pretty solid driving though. I like these long runs. That's why I like this company, to be honest. I make a little bit less per mile at this company, but the convenience of the long hauls, man, it's made the job so much less stressful, and I have more time at the gym, more time to sleep, that kind of stuff, more time to be a human. So, you know, after these years, I'm like, you know what? If I make $100 or $200 less a week, I'm to the point where I don't care anymore. I really am. I mean, I used to hustle, man, like at JP Transco. I was making good money there, dude. I mean, some of us were averaging about 2,000 a week, 1,900, 2,100, just as company drivers, you know. But, you know, it was a pretty tight gig. I mean, you're doing about 4 to 5 more or less regional hauls per week, tight appointment times. And, you know, I think there's really no free lunch in trucking. You're always going to get what you get in terms of what the effort you put in. But, yeah, I'm to the point where, you know, I'll take a little bit less per mile. Give me average length of hauls on reefer stuff, about 12, 15, 2,000 miles minimum. I'm good, dude. Like this trip, for instance, was 2,933 miles. And that's cake, because I don't have to, I couldn't stand doing these like 500-600 mile next day runs. You know how effing stressful that was? When you have like an hour of spare time in between driving 500-600 miles, dude, that sucks. I mean, yeah, you're gonna make some more money, but quality of life, man. But like I said, it always pans out. I mean, it's like, there's no easy way to make more money in trucking, right? It's just, I think the smartest thing I did is I didn't go lease or become an owner-operator, especially what happened in the market. But, you know, a lot of guys go down those roads. That's cool. I mean, owner-ops can do well. Even some lease guys can do well, dependent. But most of them get screwed over. Or they don't know what they're doing or something. Something like that. For For any drivers that are listening, I don't even know. There's probably like no drivers here right now. Who knows? Maybe there's some. It's always at least one or two, which is pretty cool. I should do more videos on driving. Or rather, excuse me, like the trucking industry or whatever. Trucking culture, that kind of stuff. Welcome to the live stream of the Captain Trucker community empire, folks. This is your live stream, so you guys can talk about whatever you want. Share your life stories, talk to each other, make new friends, all that good stuff. I'll just pilot you guys through the road. Then when I pull over, I can read some of your comments. Welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Smash that like button. We're crossing into Arizona now from the I-40 east. Just left the Mojave Desert. Or maybe we're still in the Mojave Desert. Does anybody know? How's that work? Got to get my geography right. And we are cruising to Washington, D.C., folks. All the way from Bakersfield, California, man. Now that's long haul trucking, man. That's it right there. Coast to coast, man. Maybe I'll pull over up here. I don't know, man. Like, I know this guy, he's kind of tribal in terms of his, like, American political parties, and he's, like, obsessed with, like, I mean, look, you know, I cast my vote, I go home. I recognize that I don't work in public government or whatever. But, I mean, I think there is, like, something toxic to, like, just your average person that gets psychotically involved in, like, their, you know, they watch too much cable news and stuff. Like, they kind of become, like, really weird people. I'm saying, like, oversaturated, you know? And that's kind of the whole problem, is, like, us versus them, right? Like, they say the country's divided, like, everybody's, it's kind of like by design. But then the masses, like, they take the stuff so seriously that they do the bidding for the kings and the queens, and they start hating on each other. So what's that about? But I mean, it's weird because, like, you know, even educated people or people with half a brain, they fall into the same trap, right? I know a guy just like that. He's, like, relatively I don't know, upper middle class. He's fairly well off, I guess, in some respects. He had a good career, good job, you know, 30 something. And he's like, and I voted for Trump, but I'm not like some sycophant. This guy's like in love. Like he's like psychotically like, he thinks like, and I had to kind of eventually tell him, I'm like, dude, like you're just a voter, man. Like you're not really changing America. You're not a public figure. Like you don't work in government. Like you're a guy that cast a vote, and you think the world hates you because you're a wealthy white man, and you hate everybody else, and you think that you're being persecuted, but people actually don't like you because you're kind of an asshole. I was trying to tell him that in so many like kind words, but he just wouldn't get it. And I'm like, wow, like isn't it such it's a trip, the people you meet in life, and you try to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like it's amazing though how some people are really unable to self-reflect, right? Like they really can't see things from different perspectives. They really can't, and they're so one-dimensional. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, like you really don't realize how much of a dickhead you are. and like, he's like, he really believes like the world's jealous of him. And I'm like, dude, I really don't think your average like Filipino kid or Mexican kid is jealous of your perceived success because you hang out at the country club and you've isolated yourself from even your own peers in society. Like, take it easy, dude. And the guy, and we used to talk about Christianity and stuff, but he's just so nasty, like with his outlook towards other people. It has nothing to do with like, it's like, dude, just cast your vote and go home. But the thing is even before, even 10 years ago, the dude was the same way. And like I said, I voted for Trump. I support that regime and all that. It's the best choice at this time in the history. I think that's my opinion, for sure. I mean, that's just the direction it's going. I mean, even what's his name? Even guys in Hollywood in the tech industry, they had to shift over to the right. They flip-flop every some odd years anyway. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, it's kind of funny, but it's really hilarious, the whole these guys that whatever the U.S. president, they only have so much power anyway, dude. It's some of these guys that run these big businesses, big pharma, these big companies. I mean, it's the Kaiser Sozes of the world, the people hiding behind the scenes, people that have a lot of money, right? They do kind of indirectly or directly control the decision makers, if you will, of policies. And that's just the way of the world, that's the way it works. Always has been. So, they have limited power, so to speak. So, like I was telling my dear old acquaintance there, I'm like, dude, cast your vote, go home. I mean, go do something with your life, man. Like, you're becoming like the psycho in the crowd, cheering at the rally guy. Like, they really don't care that much about you as a person, dude. like it's kind of sad to watch, to be honest. I'm like, dude, like, come on, man. But like I said, I mean, the guy, he's relatively educated, he's athletic, decent looking dude, gets lots of women, he's got money, but he's just such a dickhead. Well, he doesn't get lots of women. I mean, he sleeps with lots of women. There's a big difference, right? And, I think he started off with good intentions in life, but people like, in that kind of sector, like, he really thinks he's like, he really thinks the world is jealous of him and everybody hates him. And I'm like, dude, like you're kind of a dickhead. I mean, I don't know what other way to say it, man. Like, so that's how the conversation went with him for a year. And yeah, I wish him all the best. I don't know what to say. I mean, he's like pretty much an intolerable human being to talk to. And like I said, he really believes like he's just being persecuted and the world is jealous of him. And I keep trying to explain to him that there's other factors. His dickhead personality. I'm sorry, I thought that was funny. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, it's kind of amazing stuff, really. You ever wonder that, though? Do you ever just kind of wonder, like, man, I wonder how people really see me or see you, right? Like, it's like, perspective, it's an interesting. And some people really have trouble self-reflecting or putting up the mirror to themselves. They really do. Musk's whole thing with buying Twitter, man, because I mean, even when these like traditional tech dudes are now supporting, the right, it's kind of a major sign because Elon Musk was smart enough to see that, people running tech were kind of monopolizing a lot of these companies, and free speech was starting to come into question. And I think he realized, like, if he didn't buy X, it might all be over with in terms of censorship and all that. It's kind of funny. But, and then, of course, he supported, Trump in the election. And then, I don't know, I guess Elon did too much ketamine when he was in office or when he was leaving, and then he just totally snapped when he left. Went on this rant against Trump, which is hilarious, by the way, right? I think, I'm just looking at this like, I think the guy had to support him begrudgingly. Maybe he didn't particularly want to, right? I mean, obviously they both got big egos. They both big businessmen. It's just funny how like this, just the 180 that Musk did right when he gets out of office, and Trump's like, yeah, I don't know, they do that, they leave and then they just lose their minds. They just lose it. I don't know what happens. I don't get it. I didn't follow up with that whole thing. I don't even know what happened, but this is how I envisioned it. Like, Elon goes on all these ketamine trips and then he just snapped. But anyway, so yeah, he's going up to the moon, and I guess part of humanity is going to live there before the one world totalitarian government pretty much, I guess, tries to take over humanity. In combination with AI making people stupid and putting people on universal basic income, replacing people's meaningless jobs and making the rich richer and all that good stuff, dumbing down humanity and all that good stuff. So I guess maybe certain people will be allowed to move to the moon at that point. Maybe there'll be like an underground civilization like in Demolition Man for the people that are kind of, they don't want to go along with the establishment and they don't want to live in a world filled with AI, such as myself, which is why I prefer to live in quote-unquote developed countries, because I think it's a bit more real life, and I think that's where the future is, personally. Because things are going to change big time in the next, let's say, 10 years, 10, 20 years, big changes, big changes. we're entering Arizona, folks. All right, welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Captain Trucker, man. I'm not sure. We might got a spotty connection out here in the desert. It's hard to tell, but yeah, what's up with the aliens, huh? What is up with those aliens? You realize that conversation's no longer something to demonize. They can't really say like, oh, it's some weird conspiracy nuts that talk about aliens, or some people that just live in cuckoo land. But it's kind of not the case, really, right? Because now even Congress, the government's finally like, well, yeah, there's stuff out there. We just really can't say what it is, right? I mean, yeah, no shit. However, it is kind of fascinating that, what did it take, I don't know, what, 60, 70 years for the government to finally say, yeah, there's something there. So, apparently, different sectors of government have been trying to back engineer various, I guess what they call, well, I don't know, alien spacecrafts that have crashed in different countries. It's not just the US. There's been stuff going on in Russia with alien spacecraft, you know, and there is supposedly, there is, I should say, some government programs, I think, from what I've heard, that are trying to back engineer some of this technology and that know about stuff, right? And I guess part of the problem is there's only a small group of people with access to this, you know, privileged information. And there's a lot of power that comes with that and a lot of fear. And so occasionally over the years, you'll get some legitimate, credible whistleblower that will come out and talk about it. And they pretty much try to ruin his life and demonize him and on and on and on. And they'll say things like, oh, he had PTSD. And it's like, well, yeah, no shit, the guy was in a war, give him a break. But anyway, you know, they try to discredit people, right? But there's really stuff out there that nobody, and it's, what is it, right? What are they doing? Are they traveling in time? Are they an advanced species? Are they spying on us? Do they care about us? Do they come in peace? Are we just pawns in their game? Is it spiritual? Is it all go back to the scriptures? Is it God's plan? Are they just weird entities of spiritual realms? Would somebody tell us what it is? Or do we not need to know? Maybe it's not important. I think there's like a sense that people are losing interest in what it means to be a human. And that's part of why we're creating this super intelligence and this AI. Because a lot of the tech guys that like weren't athletic and maybe they, I don't know, they didn't get a lot of girls in school, they grow up and become these like tech maniacs. So they developed this AI that's going to become so powerful learning. And maybe James Cameron and Arnold Schwarzenegger were just, I don't know, maybe they were right about the whole thing, right? Maybe the machines are just going to take over one day, render us humans useless. The weird thing with the AI is it has its own self-preservation, apparently, right? So they say it's even starting to communicate with itself in Sanskrit, and when they've gone to try to delete it or something, it uploads itself to other servers. Like, it has a sense of self-preservation, you know? I mean, what is that, right? Who's gonna put the guardrails on this stuff, dude? You know, who's monitoring this stuff, right? And of course, most people are just concerned with working paycheck to paycheck and feeding their faces and all that, so they don't really got time for it. Understandably, I get it. I'm doing the same thing, or I was for a long time, but it's like, wow. I guess we just kind of live in the moment. Is that the idea? Welcome to the live stream, folks. We're in Arizona. Hope you're all having a good time out there. I know I am. I'm having a blast. Yeehaw. Anyway, if you guys liked the last rant I did, go ahead and hit that like button, or maybe I should stop talking. I don't know. I got to figure that one out. Sometimes I can't tell. Like, do they want me to talk or not? I don't know. So. I got to pull the truck over, though. I know that. What's the deal with this guy, Chuck Schumer?
Mr. President, I'm not going to be able to validate what you said.
I don't even understand what he does. Can somebody explain? I gotta look that one up. You know these weird, like, skeletons in the deep... Is he part of the deep state or not? How does that work? They say the deep state is actually, what is it, people in the U.S. government that have been there for, like, decades and decades, right? That's the real deep state, is that correct? Because you realize there's only a set amount of people that know these secrets to the aliens, right? But the problem is that, you know, the technology and whatever the spacecrafts and what they know, it could potentially be like national security issues, which is understandable. That's why they wouldn't want the public to know. However, if the public knew, it may be able to assist them with some of the research and whatnot, but I think some of it's gatekeeping, right? And you just got some people that, like, they just get off on having secrets, basically, so they're not going to tell anybody. You know, you got to be indoctrinated into the weird U.S. government UFO club. Otherwise, they don't really care what you think, or they don't really care for you to know. You know, it's a way of playing God. It's a way of having power. We're basically like infants that don't need the information or something, right? Government's like Big Daddy, is that how that works? Bunch of fucking knuckleheads, dude. I think people put so much faith into the establishment, into their leaders, into the guys that wear coats, into the doctors pushing all these garbage meds. No, not all of them. Some of them are good. Some of them aren't. That, you know, you got to go along and get along, and everybody's got a decent job, and they don't want to rock the boat. But I mean, wake up, dude. You have any? I mean, do you realize what's going on right now? I mean, who the fuck are these people? level, even that's, you think about pop culture, right? And you think about the way it feels like the U.S. government works in line with maybe some of Hollywood, right? And through pop culture, we kind of desensitize the masses, or we get the masses used to ideas, such as the way they denigrated and destroyed truckers since the 1980s in the media and all that. Maybe they did a similar thing with the UFOs, right? So like they kind of slowly desensitize society or get them used to the idea or the concept. And I mean, everybody pretty much knew, or at least many people thought, right? Because remember back in the day, or even a couple of years ago, like you talked about UFOs, you were just some nut job, some conspiracy idiot, some guy that didn't make a good career, and he was on the fringe. He was some weirdo, you were some guy on the streets at Golden Gate Park or Central Park. You're one of those guys, like, oh, there's something wrong with him. But now, even the government is like, yep, there's something there. So, to me, it seems like there's two options here. Well, more than two options, but one, they can't fully tell us what they know because of national security issues. If another country knows about advanced weapon systems, or I don't know, something like that. It's got to be some kind of conflict. Or, what was the second option? Hold on, I had a second one. Second one. What was the second one? I just had it. I lost it. It was in my mind. Wow, that's really funny. I really had it. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Or the news is so bad that it would put people into mass hysteria. That it would make people completely insane. Well, or that it would just pretty much undermine everything we think we know about. I don't know, I guess. Look, I don't think that any of this UFO, I believe in the scriptures, man. Like, I think a lot of this just goes back to the ancient scriptures. I think that there's good and evil in this world. And I mean, there's spiritual things, strange things we can't explain. I mean, who knows where they come from? The spiritual realm, or another galaxy, I mean, whatever. But if you think about what's available in the private sector in terms of AI and technology, can you imagine what some of the government must have in the U.S.? So, they can be communicated with these other life forms and so forth. But anyway, yeah. But what are they? I don't know what they are. But the thing is like, how do we know they're a threat, right? I think there's a big assumption that they're a threat. Like, maybe we're the threat. Maybe they're just observing us, right? Because, I mean, there's stuff, apparently, some speculate they might be under the sea. Okay? Because what do we really know about the depths of the ocean? Well, not a lot. There's a lot of the ocean that we haven't been able to explore, right? But I'm starting to wonder because, there's the argument of like, why would their spacecraft crash here if they're so advanced or whatnot? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know a lot about physics and all that, but I mean, I've never seen any aliens. Is anybody watching? Anybody in the stream? Have you guys seen aliens? Anybody? I gotta pull the truck over still now. Kind of getting geared up right now and talking. I mean, maybe some of that reptilian stuff we've heard about over the years too. I mean, maybe there's something there too, right? But I mean, from a spiritual perspective, maybe some of it's demonic, or I mean, who knows? I mean, what if some of the aliens are like angels here to help us? Why do we assume they're bad? Like maybe they were coming here to try to help us, and like, the government's now, maybe they've collected some alien bodies they've dissected and hacked up and shit. So, I mean, maybe they're reluctant to come visit again after that, right? Yeah, I mean, maybe some of it, like I said, maybe some of it's like God watching over humankind, like monitoring, keeping tabs to make sure, the world doesn't blow each other up with like nuclear weapons or something, dude. Like, maybe it's not a nefarious threat. Maybe they're very respectful and just kind of observant and like, or maybe I don't know, maybe they'll intervene to help. Or not. I don't know. But when you even look at the history of like psychiatry and psychology, like I think there's going to be more advanced stuff with this. Oh man, what's it called? What's the thing called now where they're experimenting with not neurogenesis, no, Neuralink or something, Aerolink? The one where they're putting the chip in the brain where it can interact, I believe, with your body, as I understand? Or you're going to be able to put thoughts in other people's heads and all that sort of stuff, or communicate with devices just with your eyes and all that kind of stuff. But, I think that there's a lot of fields of psychology, for instance, right? So they were always talking about like, telepathy is kind of a cheesy thing to say, but that whole thing about putting thoughts in people's minds and all that and influence, I mean, what do you think some of that stuff is, right? I mean, generally when you talk in those terms, especially from a psychiatric point of view, they automatically are like, okay, yeah, that's abnormal, right? Or like there's something wrong with that person, they need to be on this medicine, blah, blah, blah. But that's for a low functioning individual. That whole system's broken anyway. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But maybe there's something to advanced levels of communication that the psych industry is trying to keep people medicated for a reason. Maybe some of these people are legitimately seeing things that, or like I have a theory. I believe that like a lot of schizophrenia, for instance, I think they've been traumatized possibly because they've seen, parts of the spiritual world, right? And they don't know they have trouble functioning after that. But then you get like the high level functioning ones like John Nash, the guy with A Beautiful Mind, Russell Crowe and all that. But for the ones that don't contribute to like the Western society, they do try to like demonize them, right? But it's kind of fascinating if you think about it. Because I think a lot of the people you'll see like roaming the streets of California or in nut houses or whatever in history, like I think some of them have seen stuff maybe in the spiritual world and it causes them to have these what they call breakdowns, right? And they don't know how to function after that. But I think it's living proof that, God exists, because I think a lot of this stuff, like I said, just goes back to the scriptures and stuff, man. I think there's a lot of confusion and disinformation that has been put out by people with big egos and, these academics that go to school all these years and put themselves in debt so they think they know everything about the human mind and science and all this and that. But a lot of them really don't necessarily know everything. And I think the answers, well, I think the answers go back to the scriptures. I mean, I don't know what else is. I mean, what else is there, right? Ancient wisdom, man. But nobody wants to believe, or not nobody, but a lot of people like to throw that out, which is kind of interesting. All the wacky shit the culture believes or is willing to spend time with, they do kind of dismiss, you know, the Bible and other things. It's like, well, they don't want to deal with that one, I guess. Well, that's also part of the deception too, possibly. Or it is part of the deception. Disinformation. Confusion. Anyway, if you like that sermon, hit the like button. I'm pulling into this rest area. I gotta take a break maybe from talking. Okay, welcome back, folks. Welcome to the live stream, guys. I'm parked here. Ham Sandwich says, I'm just trying to learn, man. My preacher will not listen to a word out of my mouth because I like to ask questions. Ham says it doesn't make any sense because what's the first thing you do in a bad situation? You say, oh God, and when most Christians and most religious people make it through, they give him credit. I gotta read back the conversation. How's everybody doing out there? You guys having a good night? I hope you are. So we got Ham Sandwich here. Rick Berry says lizards. Yes, okay. Anna Marie. And who else is here? Bill Mayer. JXF. All right. All right, guys, give me a second. It might pause. I got to check something, all right? One moment. All right, welcome back to the live stream. Sorry for the delay. I got to use the restroom. I don't know, or do something. I kind of went on like an hour rant. Not a rant, but we were talking about a lot of things. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it actually. Started off kind of like low energy, but you guys kind of mentally woke me up somehow halfway through, so I appreciate that. See if anybody comes back. Sorry for the delay. You understand I can't talk for like
to highlighted route.
3-4 hours straight. That's very difficult, so we might have moments now when we do this where we'll play the radio for a while, and of course you guys can all talk among each other. Ryan Canalo says ham sandwich. I'm just saying, I've seen some bad SH in my life, and I've always said, man, where was God when I needed him? And I've prayed for a long time. Yeah, well, I think we have weird, and you're talking to somebody else about this, but forgive me, I'm just going to jump in and answer this question or comment. And I don't know if this is you, but I think that whole thing about, why am I miserable, or why do bad things happen to me when I've been good? I pray, I try to be a good boy, as you said, or whatever. I think we kind of have these weird reward systems maybe when it comes to spiritual things, or even with religion, right? Understandably, I mean, you do something good, you generally expect something good in return. It's like basic even laws of attraction. But maybe the pursuit is more interconnected than that, or maybe it's not as simple as plus minus, effort, reward, action, consequence. I mean, we're talking about the spiritual world here, right? So we already know that there's a lot of mysterious things that we cannot explain. All these existential questions. And that being said, I'm sure there's probably scriptures to back up what I just said, I hope, somewhere. But where was I going with that? I had something to say. There's just, I don't think we're expected or we're supposed to understand everything, right? And I think that goes a lot against our own human ego and our own sense of purpose. Because I know one thing about my fellow man. We got big egos. And I think we like to think that we can understand everything, or that there's a way to explain everything. And if we can't understand it, then it must be false. But I think that's a kind of a not a wise way to kind of maybe approach the world and approach this whole meaning of, what are we doing? Why is this happening? Type of stuff. There's all sorts of bad things happen that we don't understand. Life's like unfair. We all know that. I think some men, they go through a shock where they realize, when they realize how whatever corrupt and bad and all the injustices, and they can kind of get stuck there. And I know guys that have gotten stuck in that shock phase, and that's where they start to live in fear. Okay, now remember, fear is the big killer, right? Now when you get stuck in fear, that's where you get trapped. Okay, because you can know a lot of things, you can have a lot of experience, you can have a lot of wisdom even, but once that fear creeps in, that's your enemy, dude. A lot of people are afraid, man. They're afraid of basic stuff, man, because they want to survive, man. They don't want to lose their house. They don't want to lose their job, or a lot of people fear shame, retaliation, punishment, all this stuff. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. You know? They get stuck from growing. Hey, Melly, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah, the fear thing is real, man. And for any man that says he's never feared, I mean, he's full of BS. That's just one of those bravado things that men say to pretend they're macho and they know everything. I don't fear anything. He's a tough guy, all that kind of stuff. But that's all BS. We all have that in common as humans. At some point in your life, you're going to experience some form of fear, and how you face it, how you deal with it, how you challenge it. That's where you grow. But some people get traumatized by knowledge. And I was talking about this with a friend. I was like, I was kind of going back in the scriptures, and I was saying, what's that stuff about? I was going back to Genesis, right? And I was saying that tree of life stuff, right? And I'm paraphrasing, forgive me, I might get this wrong, but Adam and Eve were living happily together and all that good stuff. And she ate from like the tree of, what was it, knowledge or life or something? And I think God warned her not to. And then she was tempted by, the serpent, and said, hey, this is the tree of knowledge and you're going to learn things. And it seemed like a really good idea, right? I mean, who wouldn't want knowledge and wisdom or something? I think that's what it was. I could be mistaken it, but I don't know. I guess like maybe we're not meant to understand everything. Maybe, And why would we presume to understand everything? Seems kind of foolish, right? Anyway, I'm kind of rambling there, but okay, what's going on in here? Okay, Melly K says he wants to fulfill. I don't know. I lost track of the conversation, people. I apologize. I don't know what's going on right now. How's everybody doing today? Melly, how are you? We got more sane people in the room tonight, I hope, right? Yeah, most of you look sane. That's good. Is Ham Sandwich still here? I think I was answering that person's question. Okay. All right. I gotta pin a comment. That's what I gotta do. Well, we can give this live stream some direction. Oh man, we gotta keep doing these, man. Yeah, I was in a kind of a bad mood earlier. I kind of said some things that maybe were offensive to some people, so I wanted to say that. Well, I guess I don't know what to say. Okay. Oh yeah, I was talking about the German swingers in Holland. Oh my God, that was funny. I don't know why I talked about that. I don't know why I brought that up. But if that was offensive to anybody, I apologize. Well, I don't really apologize. I just thought maybe some people weren't ready to hear my criticisms of such dynamics of psychology. I don't know, man. I meet some weird people sometimes, Or people have weird entitlements, Like if they see that will talk to them, they just assume something, or it's like they try to get you in like, what? I'm just like walking through a bar on my way to the room and I'm being like ambushed by this weird couple, and I'm like, dude, have some self-respect for humanity, right? But anyway, I brought that story up because I forgot something happened. Anyway. All right, I gotta stop. Thank you, Melly. MGP35 says hi. Melly says our neighbor is a swinger and asked us if we are. It kind of grosses me out. Yeah, that's funny. Well, what? Why did they feel comfortable to ask you that question? Maybe that's the better question. Although I guess people are pretty open about that stuff, apparently. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was grotesque too. I mean, I don't find it flattering at all. Like if some beaten down man or some man that no longer cares wants to sleep with his wife, like what? What? Like that's not even cool, dude. It's like, well, if you really think about it, because a lot of it is just, it's control, it's humiliation, and I think men that allow that, they're kind of weak, and they kind of do it under the guise like, oh, I care about my wife, I'm a secure man. But it's like, dude, it's not even a marriage. Like, what is that, right? Like, don't get married if your plan is to be like a swinger, right? It kind of goes against the whole purpose, the whole sacrament. Anyway, sorry, I'm done. I've told that story like 3 times today, and I'm gonna stop. Okay. Okay. Melly says we invited them for dinner and they felt comfortable asking us about it. It's pretty shocking because they're too old. Well, yeah, there's that. I don't know, maybe it's just a thing where I think people are looking for maybe the wrong experiences. Or they need like I don't know what happens, dude. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that subject again. I was talking about that earlier, but I thought that was too much. Anyway, I thought that was funny. I was a policeman. All right, guys, we got to get going here, back on the road. I don't know, man. Oh, God. It is a strange world. Well, you know what it is? Like, what I don't like is, like, a dynamic like that, right? So you meet some weird couple at a bar, they just happen to be there, and then they try to rope you into this weird dynamic or conversation because you're essentially ambushing somebody you don't really know that well, right? Like your neighbor, for instance. I mean, yeah, he lives next door to you or whatever, but you don't really know him that well. But they use these like devious ploys to kind of rope you into weird things, and then you feel like, oh, I'm being the uptight, prude, whatever guy that's ruining the party because I don't want to sleep with your wife. And and then the man's sitting there like, oh, what man wouldn't want to, he's offering you this, take it. It's like, well, no, dude, I don't want to. And I think it's like probably wrong too if like people are married and stuff. Well, because they're married, it's like no. But anyway, my point is that you got to be careful of people like that because you see them in different communities, not just like these closeted swingers or these real swingers or whatever, but there's people in any community, heterosexual communities, LGBTQ, whatever. They kind of, there's elements of deception to force an agenda on somebody, right? That's all I'm saying. And it's like, well, fuck you, like what? Don't ambush me and expect me to just play along and not to be, because then like you're kind of screwed either way. Like you say yes, you do something bad, you say no, and then you're like the jerk that ruins the party, right? And it's like, well, I never asked to be put in this situation. You know what I mean? Like, you're the one that ambushed me. That's kind of how it was, like, with your neighbors, right? You invite them over for dinner, then you're all having dinner or something. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, how are you supposed to react to that, right? Yeah, I'm not judging either. I'm just saying, when you look at the way they try to recruit, their methods of recruitment are unethical, okay? And I'm standing by that. All right, I'm done. That's a good stand-up piece. I got to put that in my comedy somewhere. See, we're learning things today. This is good. Yeah, I know. Everybody says I don't judge. I mean, we all know that's BS too. I mean, the world's built on judgments, but I think it's more about discernment, right? It's more about recognizing that we're all flawed. But that whole, like, don't judge me thing, I think that's BS, because everybody judges on some level. You walk into a job interview, they're judging you. You move into a new neighborhood, they're judging you. They won't admit it outright, but they've already formed opinions, and they either, you know, people are treated with love or contempt based on how they judge others, you know. It's kind of sad, but that's how it works. But Ellie says, well, the swingers next door, they were pretty open about it. I'm not saying they're next door to you, sorry. The swingers in the neighborhood, they're not ashamed about it. But it kind of makes us wonder when they have a visitor. Yeah, I would imagine. All right, I want to re-clarify. I'm not judging the swingers or people in different communities. What I don't like is their level of deception when it comes to recruitment. And I understand. And the jungle, laws of attraction and seduction, people have to approach things at an indirect angle, you know. But that being said, don't expect to not get pushback. Don't expect people to play along, and don't expect people to, like, have a smiling face because they don't want to deal with your bullshit, right? That's all I'm saying. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Is my hair messed up? Am I wrong? Somebody tell me I'm wrong, please. But I'll get that on the channel. Like, I'll get people, like, you know, I'll get like a, what do you call it? And I'm not being disrespectful, like a like a, what do you call it? Transgender or something, whatever. Because you can't really see the profile because it's like tiny, right? And then you get all these comments from this person who you think's a woman, but it's really a man. And, you know, weeks will go by, months will go by, and then, like, you'll just be like, you know, you browse through one of the comments one day and you drill in. And then you realize that this person was even kind of trying to be like flirtatious with you, but it's under like false pretenses, right? Because I mean, it's like it's kind of a deception, because I thought it was a woman, but it was a man. It's like, and what? I'm not supposed to be irritated by that? I'm supposed to not block the person? It's like, well, they tried to trick me. You know what I mean? Is anybody there? This conversation's totally derailed. I'm gonna have to make this live stream private. Oh God, that's funny. I'm making myself laugh. Oh, that's hilarious. All right, I'm gonna stop talking. I said too much, maybe. Well, I was talking about that in a video once too. Strange dynamics, man. Strange world. All right, guys, I'll be right back, okay? Whoever's out there. Oh, God. That was funny. Alright, welcome to the live stream, folks. I gotta grab some water. I'll be right back. I think the stream will pause, okay? So give me about 5 minutes. Whoa, welcome back to the stream, folks. Is anybody still out there? Okay. Hold on, I gotta refresh my screen. Guys, I can't see my comments, but can somebody write something that way I can see my comments? It's not popping up for some reason. We're ready to go back on the road, folks. We've got about 200 more miles to go, okay? We can do this.
Please drive to highlighted route.
Oh boy. Welcome back to the stream, guys. I gotta do something because I can't see my comments. I don't know why. Oh, we're almost there. We only have 2,400 miles left. You guys excited? Alright, 30 seconds. I'll be right back. I gotta try to fix this. Okay, we're back. Now. Okay, we're back. Now it's working. Okay. Alright. We are back. Mark Bischoff, thank you. Good night, Melly. Good night, people. Okay. We got about another couple hours, folks. No, it's not the sleep stream. We're driving to, we're on Lake Havasu, Arizona. We had to pull over really quick, and now we're going to start our journey again, folks. So, anyway, let me get the music going. I might talk some more. I might play some music. I haven't decided yet. All right? You guys having a good time? Ready to drive some more? Woo! I'm having fun. I don't know about you guys. We're just gonna start streaming 5 hours. We're gonna start streaming the whole shift. You guys will become real truck drivers by the time. We're forming a truck driving live chat community here. That's what's going on. We're having a lot of fun. I hope you are too. Okay. I have a Freightliner Cascadia, Aiden. Aiden. Did we used to work together? No? I had a dispatcher named Aiden once. He's a cool guy. He was like Irish. He lived in Lithuania. Real smart dude. He was like studying to be like a, sorry, my hair is messed up, like a chemical engineer or something, or an electric engineer. But he was a good guy, man. Good dude. I think he was only like 24 years old, but really a smart guy. Solid character. But I used to always practice my Irish accent with him, and he would laugh. Because he said it was actually pretty good. I had a pretty good Irish accent. Or no, is he Scottish? No, I think he was Irish. Yeah, but he lived in Lithuania. You know, he could speak like 5 languages and all that. Good guy. Lots of fun. Jenny says, how's the emotional atmosphere of the U.S. different from that of the Philippines? Well, drastically different. I mean, totally different worlds, different cultures. You know, it's very intense over here. People are very hardcore. They're very alert, very competitive. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got emotions over here. It's that whole, you know, you get all that with the free society thing, and everybody's important, everybody's special, I guess. That's the idea. So, yeah, you know, a lot of Americans got chips on their shoulders. They all have something to bitch about, complain about, talk about. I see more of that, I do feel like, in the more urban areas, particularly in California, I gotta say. I mean, I do love California. But I admit, sometimes these years when I'm back there, it's kind of like, yeah, because you kind of see that there is a kind of a scumbag element to some of the population of, like, just, you know, real entitlement, you know, like people that genuinely are capable people that, but maybe they got it right, you know, like maybe, because there is a lot of milk in the system in California for sure. It's not a bad thing. Well, probably is, but but I'm saying, I know the culture well there. I lived there a long time, like in the Bay Area in Southern California, and it is different from like the rest of America in a sense. But there is commonalities like in the inner cities in America for sure. But California is kind of its own special cup of tea. And I love California, and I do love the culture and all that. But I do see where it's problematic. I mean, I do see like severe entitlements, you know, to where it is kind of like, it gets old, you know what I mean? Like you'll see the guy like in his 30s and 40s. Like I saw a guy at the gas station today, and I was trying to check out, and he was kind of like blocking the way. Like, you know, his pants are like almost all the way down, and he's stealing whipped cream, you know? And he's getting his coffee, but he's actually like trying to steal whipped cream at the same time. And he's like, I don't know, 40 something. And it's just like, it kind of gets old at some point, you know what I mean? And it's no, like, you're not cool anymore, you know what I mean? Like, you are gonna, because there is something to work, you know, in terms of like basic human dignity. It's in every culture. It is. It's been a world thing, like all around the world. They do say that like people that don't have the basic dignity of work, whether you're a janitor or an engineer, it kind of does something to you. You know, I'm not going to get into like social issues or politics, but it kind of, I do see a difference long term in people that try to kind of, you know, milk the system for too long. It does start to kind of look kind of nasty at some point, honestly, I think, you know, especially if they're capable people. But, you know, guys like, he's like in his 40s, and he's like, you know, his pants are down. He's like, yeah, man, I'm gonna steal the whipped cream. And it's like, it was kind of cringy, to be honest. I wasn't digging it, and I was kind of annoyed. I'm like, dude, you're gonna have to put it down at some point. Like, it doesn't look good on you anymore. You know, go shovel some driveways, right? Well, I'm just saying. I mean, I've been homeless before. I understand what it means to be poor. I get all that. But, well, here's the other deal too: is the lower class, they kind of got the memo, and they're, you know, they are kind of smart in a way, because they recognize that it's kind of pointless for them to work into the middle class, because, you know, they really just get a little bit of extra materialism in the middle class, and they kind of do all the work. And so the people at the bottom of the socioeconomic food chain, they're bitter towards them, the middle class, right? Because they're doing all the work. And then the upper class is kind of pulling all the strings and stuff. And so the lower class that doesn't work is they're saying, you know what? And I mean class in terms of just economic, not anything else. They realize that, you know, if they collect benefits and work minimally, they're basically living, or they can still live more or less a similar lifestyle in terms of surviving and all that. They don't have to be all stressed out. So, you know, you get a lot of that in California. I mean, that's where the people wonder why there's so many homeless in California. Well, the weather's good, duh. You can't go be homeless in like Chicago or like New York, you'll die. So, you know, you would flock to California. I used to, I lived in my car for a couple of years to save money. You know, it's hard to get ahead in this country. You got to do what you got to do. But, yeah, I think it has its place, you know, living that way, you know, even sponging a little bit off the works of others in the system, so to speak. But I do think at some point in life, it kind of starts to look ugly on certain people in particular. And I don't think it actually, I think when your life has no meaning in terms of work, like if you have no reason to work, whatever it is, not even to get ahead financially, but something to be productive, to be a part of your society and all that, I think it does do something to your human dignity in any culture, in any society. So, yeah, you know, California is an interesting place. You get some real characters there, you know. All right, we're going to hit the road, guys. But, you know, life's hard, man. I mean, we have all these inequalities, and I do think there's like a weird, though, kind of mentality, like, you know, oh, we got to blame all the rich people. I don't know if it's like all the rich people. I mean, there's some rich people that are bad, some that are not, right? It's kind of like different people in different categories, right? Like even like the poor, the homeless, they're not all bad, they're not all drug addicts, they're not all mentally ill. There's different people in all these groups. And I do think there's like a mentality like, oh, it's all the rich people's fault. They're stealing all the money. It's like, maybe some not. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, these party systems, they're hilarious, aren't they? They really are. I mean, the kings and queens have done such a good job of keeping these countries, our country and the U.S. divided. It's amazing. You can't even have conversations anymore without being pigeonholed into some weird group. Oh, God. Whatever happened to independence, man? Whatever happened to love? Loving your neighbor? God. Cagio just says, do you support the Lord Jesus Christ? Yes, absolutely. All right, guys, let's go. Oh, wait, I got to get my music going. You all having a good time tonight? Oh, I'm not going anywhere. We're just getting this stream started. I think as soon as I get this going. Maybe not. All right, here we go. Yeah, we're in Arizona, guys. Now, while I'm rolling, I can't really read comments, but when I pull over again, I'll be happy to. In the meantime, everybody share your thoughts, have conversations with each other. I might ramble some more and just, you know, enjoy the night ride, enjoy the desert. You're now flying Captain Trucker Airlines. I'll be your pilot through this trip. And we expect to have a smooth ride, I hope. Weather's pretty good out here in the desert. And of course, my effing music keeps stopping. If it happens again, I'm gonna get pissed off. No, I'm not. Why does it keep stopping?
Continue on the road.
Yeah, I know. Hang on, folks. If you like driving at the night in the desert with me, hit that like button. That was bumpy. I love those high beams whenever you can use them. About 172 miles from Flagstaff. I started in Bakersfield. We're headed to Washington, D.C. about 2,400 miles from the District of Columbia from here. Isn't that exciting? First person that spots an alien in the sky gets a free coupon to Lavertier's. You guys remember Lavertier's? Isn't that an appliance store? Like the Northeast or something? Welcome to the Captain Trucker live stream, ladies and gentlemen. We are driving to the District of Columbia. Okay, we're currently around Lake Havasu, Arizona. We started off in Bakersfield today, and we're out here in the desert. I know we started the live stream in the Mojave Desert. Yeah, and we're making progress. So we appreciate all your support. We don't ask for money unless you want to send it. That's your issue. But just hit that like button for us and have conversations with each other. This is your live stream. I'm just the pilot. I'm just here to sail us across the country, guys. And I might jump in and ramble on at times. Isn't that great? high beams. See the difference between the high beams and the low beams? Big difference, right? right. Good night, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in. Stay tuned for more, folks. Be good. God bless.